it's Lisa here. Every week I share with you English and study advice, and today we're going to dive deeper into study and how you can study more effectively with a smarter timetable. By the way, make sure you stay till the end of this video because I've got a really exciting free bonus that I want to give you that's related to this study timetable topic. Now, the first tip here is to actually put your extracurricular activities first, which may sound a little bit ironic because when it comes to a study table, you'd think that you'd want to prioritize your study first. Well, here's why we do it this way. Often when thinking about a study timetable, a planner, the first thing you write down is when you plan to study. The problem with this approach, however, is that it means you're more likely to run into occasions where your planned study blocks clash with another commitment. This, in turn, means that you're more likely not to study in the allocated time slot, which can lead to work not being done when you want it to be. A better approach is to actually write down all of your scheduled extracurricular activities before you even begin to think about study. Write down any plans you've made with friends and family, as well as any other commitments like sport and vocational classes. This way, you can carve out time for the things that matter to you first, and then arrange your study blocks around this. Now, the next tip I have for you is to actually focus on tasks, not the time. Sometimes when we study, we think about how long we plan to study for, rather than what we specifically want to achieve. For example, instead of allocating 1.5 hours on a Monday to study for English, you might instead set the goal of writing a practice essay. This way, you'll have more structure around the tasks that you want to achieve for each subject, and you'll be more motivated to complete something in order to cross it off the to-do list. This is likely to cut down procrastination because this helps you focus on what you're doing rather than how long you're doing it for. The third tip I've got here is to grant yourself some flexibility. Give yourself permission to reshuffle tasks when you need to, so that you can account for things that might come up unexpectedly and the occasional off day. The main thing here is to avoid allowing things to not get done at all. This means that if you don't get around to something or don't feel up to it on Monday, you actually revise your timetable and look for another window where you can do the task instead, rather than counting it as a loss and then just moving on. Next is to consider allocating yourself a day off. Mwah! We love to hear about days off, right? School can be pretty damn exhausting, especially if you're in senior years like year 11 and year 12, where burnout is a real thing. Burnout happens when you try to do too much and ultimately just are incapable of doing it all, or at least working at the same rate as where you were previously. This is why it's so important to create a sustainable study plan so that you feel empowered by and capable to achieve your goals. One of the things I love about creating a sustainable study plan is actually to allocate yourself time to take a day off. And this allows you to reset. Of course, the precise details of when you'd schedule this in really just depends on you and your extracurricular activities and what your weekdays and weekends look like. But typically for students, taking a day off on the weekend, such as Saturday or Sunday, is a great way for you to recharge your batteries for school the following week. Even though I'm not studying anymore, you can see that I've carved out some of my Thursdays. That's because sometimes I have to work on Saturdays in order to film because my space is too small for me and my boyfriend to both fit into the same space while I'm filming. So that's why sometimes I do work on Saturdays. But if I do that, I actually take a day off the following week or whenever I can, just to really strike that balance and not lead me to burnout. The last tip here is don't feel like you have to fill absolutely every single minute of every hour of every day with study blocks. It's okay for you to have blank parts in your calendar because that way, if you needed to fill them up with more study blocks, you absolutely can because you have created that space to. Or you have that time available for downtime, which is equally important, as we've mentioned before, to help you get the rest you need to avoid that burnout and to maintain the momentum and motivation you need for the year. Now, if these tips weren't enough, I've also got your back in that we've created a free study timetable that you can download on our website. So I'll link that for you up above because it's a great example created by somebody who achieved a study score of 45 and above, so the top 2% of their cohort. so someone who did really well. It's a great way for you to visualize how they went about their study planning and inspire you to create your own. The link's just on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you, especially if you've made it all the way to the end of this video. If you had, I'd love for you to comment with the word sustainable, just so that I know that there are some of you out there who've watched all the way until the end of this video and that you truly found this video so helpful that you did decide to watch until the very end. This tells me that I need to create more videos like this, so I really appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week for more study advice and tips. Bye!